Hi there, and I'm so happy you're watching. Today I'm talking about 4 techniques that you could use for creating your first layer, your background layer for your art journal, and you could also use this for canvas, of course. And I also show you a couple of bonus techniques. The first one I want to show you is working with the roller, and the roller is for me a wonderful technique. You already see which colors I've been working with, and this is one of the things that when students come following lessons, this is one of the first things that I teach them because it's such an amazing effect. I will just go for one page so I can use the other page for another technique. And maybe it's nice to show you some things that I've been doing with the roller, or partly with the roller. Like here you can see the effect of the roller. And of course this I didn't do with the roller, but the background, it's just about the background today. The background I did with the roller. I also made some difference between, this is kind of the table and this is kind of the air around the flowers. And well, this one, this was actually a game that I created a year ago with Machteld and Yvonne. And the background of it, I've done fully with the roller. So you see there are still some effects like this and like that are visible from the roller technique. And I will go a little back in the book. Well, I think I've done that one so far with the roller. I don't know other pages. Well, maybe this one. That's quite boring. If you want a quite boring background, then it's nice to do just, well, I will show that. You have 2 options. One is to go for some colors at the same time on your roller. And then you have a mesmerizing effect like this. You see already what's happening. You see that there's, well, all the colors are mixed up. It's just a great way to, well, to create things in the background that you don't expect. And sometimes I see things in these backgrounds, like faces, like a tree, like whatever. And another fun thing about this technique is that sometimes you don't know what the colors are doing while mixing them. So in this case, it's a funny thing that's happening between these rose sienna and these Persian pink. And if you don't like it, you can simply use the hairdryer and remove everything afterwards with a new layer, or remove just the things that you don't, well, feel like it's working for you. So maybe this is too white. I always love to keep the pages kind of, well, quiet, because then I can add whatever I want to add to it. And I didn't have any plan for this page, what will be next. Well, maybe it's something wintry, or I don't know yet. And the only thing that you need to do in this phase is filling up the page. And there's nothing else fancy you have to do with the page. It's just filling and creating something gorgeous to work on later on. I will put something underneath, maybe this little piece of rice paper to not harm the previous page. And actually I can show that too, because I've already done this one with the roller. I will put these things aside, but this is kind of a living room that I wanted to create. And that's not done with the roller, of course, but this was just a project that isn't finished. But I wanted to give it kind of a, well, robust wall, like when you're in France, and maybe even some stones in it. I wanted to have a window here, but this is, well, it's just about the background, and these things are just laying there to be, well, glued down. And this one I also created with a roller, so you see the lovely effect. And I don't mind that it's very messy, but I will show you one more option. I've already done it a bit here. So when you have some things that you find a little too dominant on the page, like this, it's a bit too dominant, but it is a nice color actually, then you roll over it a bit more and more and more, and then it's getting even. It's all having the same like color. And you see that I have a kind of balanced color, an in-between color of all the colors that I just put on my palette. So I just love that you create the kind of, well, mixed colors that's befriended with all the colors that are already there. And I love it when there are so, well, kind of these, well, it's red ochre. I'm in love with red ochre. So I put, oh, that's another thing you can do. Another option is that if you find a piece, the part too boring, so that's just the part that I showed you for, well, so you can make it even. Well, I found that a little boring, so I put a little layer over it once more. And if you want to, you could also take a brush and do the sides of the paper. As long as you fill all of the page, it's all right. I find this white a little too, well, I love this vagueness, that it's going over into the next color. It's overflowing. I love that effect. I also love this. It's very warm, and it reminds me of something in nature, like a leaf that's getting pink. And it also reminds me of, I once made a Christmas card of Maria, and that had exactly the same like color as this background. So there is a certain point where you can't go over it anymore. When it's wet and you just add paint on the wet surface and keep adding. It is possible when you work on art journal paper, it is possible that you will take some paper off. So the paper is going to peel, and then, well, everything is getting broken. It doesn't happen with me in this journal. This is the Clairefontaine art journal, and I'm really satisfied with this one. Oh, I think I picked up a little paint from my palette, but it's just this paper, so I will remove that. And so this is quite a nice technique to use. And what I sometimes do, now I've kept the left page blank, and it's very blank. So what I could do is just mirror the page a little and see what's happening. And sometimes this is giving a wonderful effect. This is an actual technique. Actually, it's an extra technique, actually. So you see what's happening. It's very nice. So this is a bonus for everyone who wants to try it. And you can add a little more paint if you think there's not enough on it anymore. But I put a very thick layer on this. So this is just gorgeous to work on for my final technique that I'm about to show you. So I will leave this one, I will lay this one aside. And then we go for the next technique. And the next technique is also with paint. And I have here my wonderful Denise Love book, the gift that she sent to me. This is her self-created book. She has some amazing classes on art journaling. This is from my from the hospital, visiting the hospital for my eyes. But I will show you the book so far. I have done this already, but for now I will show it once more. And you see, I also used a lot of lovely papers. This is also roller technique. This is different paper. The most of the paper is this watercolor paper from India. It's just lovely, but sometimes she uses this paper. And then I feel like I don't want to put a background layer on it because I just love that. And here is another roller result. I use this roller, and it's a wallpaper roller to put the wallpaper. When you have two pieces of wallpaper, you can press it gently, and then it's coming together, and you can just put that. I still have some paint on my roller, so I will remove that. So there's no texture left on the roller. So I have already done a combination of techniques right now. But this one, I know this one isn't available in the United States. So, or it is at least hard to find. In Europe, you can normally buy it in the hardware store at the wallpaper department. But if you can't find it, you can also go for a brayer, like the one from SD, the ones that you use for lino printing or jelly printing. So it's working the same way. It's a bit harder material. This is very soft. You can gently do like this. Those ones, it's not possible, but it's working the same way. And it's just great. It's just great. Well, I go for the next technique, which is the spalter brush, a broad brush. And the benefits of the brush is that it can be used with a lot of water, and you can also fill in big, larger areas that you want to fill in with paint at the same time. So what I do, I dip my brush in the water, and then I just go for adding some layers. And especially this watercolor paper is great for this technique. And I can also show it. I will, when my brush is dry, I take some paint. I take the brown one because that's visible. And you can see when it's dry, this is happening. So you see the paper isn't absorbing the paint that much. So you also see the texture of the paper here, and that's very nice. If you want to keep that, you just leave it this way. I am normally a person that doesn't like white, and when I want white, I go for adding white myself. But in this case, sometimes it's nice to leave the layer like this, because it's so nice to see the texture. I could also go for this. Just adding some water. I could also do this when it's dry. So that's very nice to see. It isn't white anymore, but you can still see the texture of the paper. It's also the case when I was working on this page. I think I put this one in another YouTube video. And I wanted to, to surround the roses. These ones are by Denise, and this part is by me. And also the hole in the page, because I wanted to have a little sneak to this page, which isn't finished, but just wanted to copy this and that, but I didn't want to go over the roses that Denise created, so I simply surrounded a watery layering of paint, like what I've done here, so that I couldn't overlap the roses that Denise created. And that's ideal. I never work that way. That I always make sure that I paint a background. There are just some cases in which I don't do that. I think this is going to be a very abstract page, and you can already see that when I'm adding a layer of white, it's, wow, it's just crazy. It's just a good effect. I also can do like this. So this is another effect that I can already do some mark making. I could also go for using the side of the brush, dip it in the paint and do it kind of like a stamp, so that I can already create some textural effects, which, well, wasn't my intention in this phase of the of the page, because it's just the background. But I love trying out new things. And here you can see that this part is already dried, and I can simply overlap it and see again the texture of the painting, the paint layer that's underneath. So here I think I want to keep this part very watery. Maybe I want to do something with very light pink. I can even make it more watery so that these stripes are getting through. Now I have to lift this page a little because there's already some details from the other page. So I will just use a darker color, which is kind of, well, the same color that I used on the previous page, or what's coming through from the previous page. And it's actually a wonderful color, so maybe I have to let it come back on the other page. Well, I'm not used to do watercolor, but I can imagine when you have this paper, it's great to work in watercolor layers. And sometimes people ask me, why don't you do watercolor? And that's mainly because I find it too, I love texture. And I miss that when I would do watercolor. And I have done it a couple of times, and I was just not satisfied with the colors, with the, well, I just didn't have the feel and the flow with it. So there are lots of people who love it. So yeah, but not for me. And sometimes I do gouache, and sometimes I do pastels. I have done oil, and I love oil, but I don't like the smell. So this is already something which I could go on with in a later stage. I love this color, so I will put it a little color here. So you can see this isn't already a background anymore, but you could imagine that you could easily just fill one page, and I will do that with the next book that I have here, which is the Buku by Metaformer. And you see this color is already coming through, so I can simply go for, well, continuing. And so here you can see that I can create an easy layer. And this is also a little bonus page that I do for you, which is a combination of this one and leaving the background how it is. Because leaving the background how it is, this is a very thin page. The page you put in a photo, that's put in a photo album to protect the photos. So this was the other page that I created also for YouTube, but that video didn't work. I think the batteries were low, and then at a given moment it stopped. So I just had the first 10 minutes, but here you can still see the result. And this is actually also a combined technique from I think this same brush and the one we are about to do next, adding paper as a first layer. But here you can see on the back of the page, it's just wonderful. You still see here the effect of the roller that I used, and that's this one. I will show that. I think it is this one with the leaves on it, and this is the bigger one. There are vintage rollers, and they're just amazing. So this is just an area already filled to, well, to just see what is the color that I want to work with. I could also make another layer, and I think there needs to be a little blue. So you see there's also a difference in pressing your brush like this when all the hairs are getting, well, curled. And here I go over the surface gently without pushing too hard. So that's another effect. And these effects are also wonderful on this kind of paper. This is a bag, actually. And you see which brand? Yes. But it's very useful sometimes to, well, to have a bag in in your art journal. Because this crafty paper, it's also in some of the Dino Weekly art journals. And you see it isn't really necessary to put a new layer, a full background, because the craft is just so amazing as it is. So that's another in-between bonus option, using, well, the brush, the spalter brush, and using nothing, just keeping the background how it is. I have some more examples of keeping the background how it is, and I think they are in this larger Dino Weekly art journal. And well, let's see. This is a roller. I have many pages with roller, but keeping the background how it is. Yeah, this one, for example, this one I've done with the roller, but this one I just done with, well, keeping the craft paper as it is and just making illustrations, because that background is so nice. This is actually the page where I've been started with, and what I've done is, well, keeping the burlap as it is and just adding some collage items next to this vase of flowers. So this is also a combination. Where have I kept? This is also an option, keeping the background partly as it is. And this is another technique that I'll be showing you, and that's not final technique that I'll be showing you. Let's see what I have more. Well, often with the craft paper, with the linen canvas-like papers, I won't do too much on the background because I already love it. But what you see is that I most of the time let items come back that are matching the burlap again, or the craft paper or the linen. So here you can see there's also craft paper pages on these pages. So here you can see this color is coming back a little. Well, I just browsed through the book without, well, any preparation. Maybe it's better if I show you this one, and then I have to be careful because it's still wet. But there are several pages in the book that aren't, well, really filled. And there are beautiful fabrics, so you don't want to overlap them all. So you keep parts of them like how they are. And also with these music sheet pages, they're wonderful in the simplicity. So I used to keep those as they are. This black paper is also great to work on and to leave parts of it as they are. Let's go for the next technique, and that's option number 3. The other ones were bonus. And here we have a lovely spread next to a filled spread with the roller, which is almost dry. And now for me, it's very important that this part is dry and this part is dry. So for the next thing, for the next technique, you don't need any brush or roller. You just need some gel medium and some pieces of paper. And I selected some for you. And I already had this one. This is a very thin, rice paper, silk paper, they call it sometimes, silk rice paper. So these are just some options which you could use, like music sheet paper again. And even fabric, you see how nice this is looking. This is mulberry paper. And this is kind of straw fiber paper, which is just amazing with the hairs or straw pieces coming out. Old book pages. I think this is a very old cover of a book. I see it because of the foldings. This is Locta paper. This is just from a magazine, but I thought it would be nice to have the word rust, which means rest. In Dutch. This is just an old piece of paper. I don't need that. This is a color eater. And this is a part of the Dino Weekly Ledger Journal, which I torn out because I didn't want it to be too thick. And this is some shoebox paper, which I found really amazing. With shepherd on it. And this is another straw fiber paper, but it's kind of lilac. I don't think it's matching with the pages that I'm doing right now. So I put that one aside. This one is matching. So, but I gave myself a challenge because I already have an amazing background with these things in it. So I don't think I will overlap everything like I used to do with using this technique. I will show you an example. In this book, where I used this technique, I partly used it on this page, but this isn't the page that I wanted to show you. This is the page where I started making a collage, and I think I still have a picture of the page when it wasn't fully filled, and it was just papers, notes, to-do lists. It was all filled, and afterwards I put in the face and this woman. So it was just paper, and what you see, it's a very textured surface. It's just, if you can feel it, everywhere is paper. Well, only here, there's no paper behind it. So it's a lot about layering. And what I often do is when I have I have a pile of things, and then I make a selection which ones are really great for me to use and which ones, I need to keep on top, because this is something that I really love. I love this word, and I just have one of this piece of paper. There's a single one. So I want to keep this one on top, because sometimes I have in my composition, I feel like I want to do like this. Oh, I missed that word. So this one needs to be on top of this. So I keep that one on a different pile. And also this one is nicely on top because it's, you have all the things sticking out. So that's one thing that could be on top. This is a thing that could be on top because I love that. And this one is, I think, a bit too dominant, but maybe I can just put a little part of it in my collage right now. And so here, this could be nice. And here I have this paper. And this is something that is, I have more of this, so I don't have problems using this part of paper. Below. And here is, this is from a very old book, but I have a full book of pages like this. So this could be underneath. This is for on top. The mulberry paper, I have lots of this, so it could be both. But if you don't have much of this, then you simply use what you have and keep it for your final stage. This one I need to use on top. It's a piece of old fabric with, I think it's just a kitchen towel or something that I put upon it. And this is an old book page that I've been painting. And I think I've been painting that with the broad brush. So that's also a combined technique if I use this one. Let's say I do use one of these for, well, underneath, and I keep a little for if I want to use it later. Now, this is transparent paper and it's really magical if I use this. So I will show you what will be happening. And I will also keep something. What I often do, I make one more selection, and that's this one. This is the rice paper. And I love it that there's a little paint on top. Now, the nice thing about transparent paper is that you can make an overlapping effect and you see the background shining through. So here you can already see what's happening. So sometimes I make a drawing on this and then I put it simply on my first layer. Now, you could also go for newspaper, for newspapers, old book pages, well, all kind of things, notes, things you want to have in your collage. So this is part 3, and we're about to use the overlapping paper technique, mixed media, paper, frottage. Well, I will start with this one because I want to do some overlapping effect with the rice paper later on. And here you can see this is just wonderful if you use the mulberry paper. And what's also nice is that if you use, well, most of the time I tear everything. Except when I use this against the edge of the book. So that's what I'm going to do right now. And there is some text of the shop where I bought these shoes. And yeah, this is also nice. Sometimes I love it that there are crinkles in. They call it frottage in French and also in Dutch. I don't know what's the word for that in English. I think it's frottage as well. And that's the thing that you can, well, fold or get the paper in shape and just gently wipe over it and keep the folds like they are. And I make sure that everything is pasted in the right way. Sometimes I use wallpaper glue for this. And that is, well, it's kind of handy. But sometimes I think pieces are not really gluing perfectly, are not glued perfectly. So I prefer using the gel medium. Now I have to be careful because I want to keep this part. But normally, I just go for overlapping parts. So when I, for example, I added this part and then I overlapped that one. And now I will do it once more, but then I will use this book page for it. Huh. And that's very funny because they're talking in this book, they're talking about wallpaper. Behangselpapier. Het is geen roman. It isn't a novel, so you can just check what you've glued down. I don't know what this book is about, but it's very well. It's kind of a synchronicity that it's about wallpaper in this book. So I will do some same like book pages here. I often make sure that something is coming back elsewhere on the page. So I could also do that with this paper. And what I could even do is make a little overlap from this page to the other one. And you see that here is a little piece that I torn in this way. If you tear it this way, then this one is getting white. So this one that is, well, the one that is below is getting white. If I do it the other way around, this one is getting below and it's getting a white edge. In some cases, I love that. Like here, I do love that. I don't love it everywhere and always, but for now, I find it really nice. So here, I will fold it a bit like that it's properly against the midst of the book, and then I can fold it. I fold it. And then I glue it down. And I use a lot of glue, but I don't mind. I really love using a lot of glue. Here I have another, well, a piece of, how do you call it? Silk paper. And I will show you what's happening when you overlap the text with, you see the text is still visible, but it's getting, well, it's a kind of transparent layer. And I love these differences between, well, the shepherd paper pasted or overlapping this mulberry paper, and here this paper, this rice silk paper is overlapping the shepherd again. So it's really nice, all the differences between layers. So that's really something I love. I will do, well, one more, I think, and then I go for my final technique. And this is something that I haven't used yet, so I will use part of that. And I will do something on top. Well, and it's up to you whether you well, do the full page or you just do parts of the page. And I will always love it when things are coming back somewhere. But if I paint, well, do some things with paint, it's possible because the other page I did with paint too. I think this one is also very nice, but it is very nice actually. So maybe I go for just one part. And I always look, is the background better or this one? I think this one is the best one. And here. So this is going to be kind of my upper layer. And some parts of my collage paper is sticking out of the book. I don't really mind because I can fold it when I'm doing the next page. But in this case, I want this one to be close to the edge. So I will simply cut these things off. I love this part. That is, maybe I want to continue this part with paint maybe, or same like colored paper. Let's see, what else do I have? Now this is a piece of fabric. And I had this wonderful part, which could be kind of a flip that could be like this. And it's very nice next to the other page. And I also have this one that I wanted to have on top. But now I'm already thinking about, well, what to do next with this page. And I don't wanna think about that yet. It's just about background pages. So this is already a nice background, and there could be lots of more things. So I will put this all aside, and then we go for the final technique, using the palette knife to fill the page. Now I have to find myself a page where I can properly show you this technique. And there are a lot of things between this book. I think I will go for, well, this page, and then, or maybe the final page. Oh no, I haven't ended this book yet. No, I will go for this page and then use these colors that I already have on my color palette right now. And then I go for, I have two different kinds of palette knives. These are the silicone plastic ones, and I have this one. And I also have another of these plastic ones. This one. And I have this one, which is by far my favorite. And so I will just show you how I normally work. I use this technique a lot in my paintings. And what I do is I simply add some paint on my palette knife, and then, well, you see it's a lot. It's dripping off and then I get this effect. You really have to keep in mind that it's taking a little longer to let this dry. And also you can already see it's getting quite dark when you're adding darker colors to it. You see there's, well, a lot of darkness. And, well, I can add some white, for example. And as soon as I'm adding white, you see that it's, well, you could better do it the other way around, because there's now still white in my palette knife. So actually I need to dry this part first, and then I can go over it with white again. But I will show you the other palette knives, and they are working, well, the same way, but a bit differently. I haven't used this one. Look how clean it was. I will go for pink and white. And then here you can see, you can simply fill the page with just one color, or add some more white to it. And maybe this is not the best paper to use the palette knife, but you can already see, because it's so textural, it's, well, I think the texture could be so nice for other techniques as well. But you see, this is also working. It's very nice to use this technique. We can also go for a little mirrored page. Like this, you can see the stripes of that. Yeah, I really love mirrored pages. So this is a bonus. The mirrored pages are just a bonus for everyone who loves to explore and who dares to explore, actually, because this isn't something that you want to do with a page that you are completely satisfied about. I think this is going to be like a forest, and these are all tree trunks or something. So that is a nice technique with the palette knife. Well, you can, well, when your first layer has dried, you can scrape, you can just carve in it like this. Maybe I can still show you. No, I can't show you yet. Sometimes, oh, like this is very nice. Like you can add some stripes. I'm just a messy worker, but I will add a link to my class, to my online class, painting landscapes with the palette knife. I just shown you some techniques, but I didn't show you everything in this video because it's just such a wonderful tool that you can use for so many purposes and not just for backgrounds. I think in the class I even don't use this one for making a background. I think I used the roller for that. But you can see this is a very nice technique to fill the page. But when it's getting detailed, you can already see that the edges of the page, well, aren't filled yet. And what you could do is just take a little brush and fill them manually. The other thing is manually too, but you can fill them with the brush and then simply connect everything with the kind of middle color that's here on my brush. I think it's kind of the middle color. So yes. And then this is just a background. Keep that in mind. This isn't the finished result. This is just a background to think, yummy, I want to continue working on this. Well, what I see in it a forest. Okay, I'm really looking forward to continue working with this tiny little forest. In the next video, I think, or I don't know yet. This is a little more pink. I want to keep this, but I love this pink color. Wow. Maybe these are going to be the 3 leaves or something. I don't know yet what this is about, but well, you can imagine that this is much easier when you fill a full painting, a canvas with this. Now I have to, well, really take care of the previous and upcoming pages of the book. But I really love it to use the palette knife. And, well, maybe you can see it if I hold the book like this, how much texture there is. And that's also the case with the roller. So these are my backgrounds that I created today. And well, I don't know which one you prefer, but for me, I think I fell really in love with the mirrored page. And this side of the page is really one of my favorites. And also because of this pattern. So I think I would definitely go for this one, well, in the first place. And I also love this one. And of course, I had another one with a broad brush, and that was another lovely one, but I have to feel if I can already see it. That's this one. And I also love this one very much. Maybe I'm about to combine this one with, well, some papers, but maybe some drawings. I don't know yet. And this is a very wild one, and maybe I have to remove some parts of this, but well, because it's too messy. But maybe it's just good if I create some strong tree trunks. This could really be a nice forest with pinkish, with trees with pinkish leaves or blossoms. So I'm very happy about my backgrounds, and I'm looking forward to work on all of these. And well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I've shown you something that you didn't know yet and that you're about to use in the future. Please let me know if you have other suggestions for a background, and if you want to tell me which one is your favorite technique. You're very welcome to, well, put a comment underneath this video. Thank you so much for watching. and like the video. If you do, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment as I said, and if you aren't a subscriber yet, please subscribe. It would be wonderful to have you in my community. And turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next video. I see you next week. Bye bye.